Successful Escapes, number 13. Hello, I'm HG Tudor, continuing to enable you to hear from people who have made a successful escape, so that you understand what they escaped from, the circumstances they were dealing with, and what it was of my work that has aided them in achieving that escape. We start with Swedish Perfection. Swedish Perfection has asked that I narrate her entry. I discovered HG's work 6 years ago. At that time, I was entangled with a man I believed to be my friend and my colleague. I would like to clarify I was not his primary source, but his intimate partner's secondary source. Therefore, the escape in my case was not as complicated, although, as some of the previous testimonies have pointed out, the most difficult part is not the physical separation, but the mental escape. At first, this person seemed very sweet and charming, a well-read person with whom I could discuss literature, art, and talk about social justice causes. I really believed we were soulmates. I feel so stupid writing this now. He love-bombed and made me believe I was absolutely perfect, intelligent, sexy, and that we were meant to be together, although soon I started seeing through his fake persona and realizing how vain and selfish he was and how rude he was to other people. We were apart during the summer, though he said he was looking forward to reuniting back in September. But during that time, he started triangulating me on social media, and though he responded to my messages, I knew he was acting differently. I read HG's The Stranger Zone, which made sense. He put me on the shelf with the intention to take me down when the summer ended. I knew I was not crazy when I started noticing that instead of 3 kiss emojis, he only sent me 1. Or instead of hearting my pictures like he used to, he just gave me a listless like. Anyone who has not been with a narcissist would think I'm making a deal out of something that's nonsensical. Well, we know better, don't we? As HG later confirmed, this was done intentionally. I also travelled during that summer to a location he and I both loved to do some professional presentation. As soon as I landed on the place, he disappeared from the face of the earth, ignoring my whole trip, my pictures, my account of my professional success. When I asked him, he replied he was busy and explained, "What do you want from me?" I was going through a lot of confusion. My mind could not reconcile the person that I had thought he was from the beginning with the side of him that I was now seeing. He also triangulated me with social media, as we both communicated through one platform, but suddenly he let me see on the same platform that he had opened an account on a different one without inviting me to do so. He thanked a common acquaintance, another female colleague, from inspiring him to do so and continued to chat with her, leaving me aside. My first encounter with HG's work, and the one that saved me, was Sex and the Narcissist, which was a Google recommendation when I typed in despair, sending dick pictures and flirting with multiple women at the same time. This should give you a clue as to what type of narcissist he is. HG's description of this person's deviant behaviour was so extremely accurate that I immediately knew what I was dealing with. I'm not a majority super empath, but I do have a significant percentage, so after reading this book, I immediately noticed how, like the flame in a burner that you turn from hot down to low to off, my feelings that I had for this guy were shut down. I felt a sense of void and disgust and decided to send him a message in complete calmness. I didn't want to argue or get revenge. I wanted to get rid of him like you want to get a bug off your hair. What I wrote, more or less, was, "You are not relevant in my life, just an addition, so I do not need to put up with this." And then I blocked him on my phone. The narc detector confirmed my suspicions and categorized him as an upper-lesser asomatic. This narcissist I was with was extreme in everything. He went from charming and understanding to a spoilt, immature child that is constantly in your face, has no desire to cover his impulsiveness, only thinks about living la vida loca, pretends to be educated but only repeats what he steals from others, and is zero apologetic. Think Russell Brand with a six-pack. Talking to HG during consultation provided me with a better idea of this school's modus operandi and what I needed to do. In addition to taking the empath detector, I also took the trait detector consultation, which helped me to realise that jealousy is a strong narcissistic trait in me, hence why I reacted so much to triangulations. If you haven't done those, I urge you to take both, because this path is not just about knowing the narcissist, but also knowing yourself. Important piece of advice. It does not suffice to be an expert on HG's nomenclature and narc behaviours. You need to walk the walk. It doesn't matter how well you know the theory if you don't put it into practice. Learn from HG and do exactly as he says. I'm going to list the steps that helped me detach from this person and a couple of HG's works that were very influential, although I must say I've read and listened to nearly everything he's created. Please remember that even if you are a secondary source, the abuse is real, and you still need to go so. Step 1. Down with social media. If you read HG's articles about social media bombs and social media and the somatic, you'll understand. Excuses of the type, but I have international friends I want to stay connected to. ET phones home. Do not listen. At first, I tried to remain silent, but kept social media. When he saw I did not react, he went really far, triangulating me with pictures of women or tagging other women, links to music he knew I enjoyed, allusions to my original country and how much he loves everything from there. I was one of those things, literally. Pictures of himself flexing his muscles on the beach while reading a book we talked about. I know, pathetic. When I got off social media, he resorted to other hoovers. He left messages on the desk of my workplace, messages on my office phone. He randomly showed up at the entrance of my department at the time I was supposed to leave and sent flying monkeys to ask about my plans for the weekend. Step 2. Stay out of the narc's radar. HG explained it very well in his article, Entering the Sphere of Influence. Disappearing takes a lot of work and personal sacrifices. You will need to change your habits and change your routine. If you think, I'm not changing my life for a narcissist, then you're doing the narcissist a favour. Be determined in your objective and don't lose sight of it. Never forget that your objective is to achieve freedom. For instance, we both live in the same city and have multiple acquaintances in common, some of them, as I learn later, and I mentioned above, are his flying monkeys. I declared that if he was going to use his flying monkeys to fight this battle, I was no less. I designated my own army of friends to check his social media as he posts absolutely everything and let me know where he was, so that I avoided running into him. I now understand that this is a breach of no contact, but HG gave me permission to do this as it was done to avoid the narcissist and not to provoke actually having a meeting with him. Step 3. Cheap no contact translates into hoovers. HG repeatedly reminds us that it is not no contact if you leave open any cracks. I shut down all venues except one, my phone. Change your phone number unless you want to know what a spoof call is. Get anonymous breathing messages or fake surveys about the most random stuff like I did. I cannot say much without revealing confidential information, but this person is currently facing a hard situation owing to his extreme somatic ways and his entitlement. I am neither happy nor satisfied. I simply don't care. But it shows that HG is always right. You don't need any revenge. Just give them enough rope. During this journey, I never sought to become an expert on things I didn't know existed. What the hell was a spoof call, right? I feel like having discovered a parallel universe. My escape from this narcissist has been successful, but if you're an empath, this never ends. It doesn't matter if you don't date. Narcissists are everywhere in my life regardless. My dad and my sister are narcissists. Many co-workers are narcissists, and probably my obnoxious neighbour who doesn't recognise trash boundaries is also a narcissist. We must be educated. Knowledge is power. Professor Tudor, I know you do it for your own reasons, but you're doing a very good thing. Thanks for everything I have learned from you during these years, and thank you for all the listening. Good luck in your escape. The detailed experience there of Swedish Perfection. Now we hear from Victoria, who has also asked me to narrate her experience. I woke up on Monday thinking I have to write to HG to thank him because he has a lot of credit for my peace of mind. I met you on May the 6th, 2021. I've sent you an anniversary email every year since then, and I plan to do so for the rest of my life. I was an IPSS of the shelf variety for about 8 years. The last of those years I was in therapy, and remember telling the psychologist, I think he's a narcissist, without understanding the full scope of the matter, of course. She told me to be patient, that he would eventually change, and everything would be fine. I felt something was off, but I couldn't grasp it. In January 2021, I managed to go no contact, but in May, my emotional thinking got hold of me, so I texted him. He used to mistreat me, but that time was the worst. I couldn't believe what he said to me. He was already with an IPPS and used her for triangulation. The day I ended up on a Reddit thread that led me to HG. The 10 Commandments of No Contact was the first package I bought, and it has been non-stop since then. I keep a notepad of those days where I took notes of everything. I studied every word that HG says. The empath and the trait detectors are life changers. There's no therapy that gives the understanding of oneself so thoroughly. When I got the results, it was a movie-like moment where everything fell into place for the main character. Right now, I'm facing the worst situation at work, and thanks to HG, I'm thriving and not heavily medicated to go through life. I listen to HG daily. It's my dose of logic to keep my emotional thinking in check. Thank you, HG, for teaching us empaths around the world what no one else did. Protect yourself. All the best to you from Costa Rica. Thank you, Victoria, for sharing your experience. The next individual is Rebecca. I'm Rebecca, and I'm originally from South Carolina in the United States. I first came across HG's work back in late 2021 when I was in the tail end of the devaluation period with a lower mid-range somatic from work. I was his IPSS, and perhaps a candidate for IPPS, but he never got to take that important test drive with me. His plans were spoiled by a few friends of mine. I'd noticed his behaviours were very much like my mother's behaviours, and I started researching online. HG's work came up, and I clicked on the first video. Hours later, and some of my confusion was lifted, and things started to make sense. I found HG's blog, narcsite.com, through a link in his videos. I emailed HG about my situation, and he suggested that I do a narc detector. I did, and he confirmed the results and gave me a list of materials to help me, and offered a consultation as an option too. I purchased HG's materials, the Empathy Cake, Understanding Emotional Empathy, Halting the Hurt, Fear in the Empathic Victim, Early Warning Detector, Black and White on the Shelf, and the Quick Calm series. I also bought and read Fuel, Chained, Fury, and Sitting Target. I obtained the Empath Detector to understand myself, as well as the Trait Detector and the Weaponized Empath Detector. I've utilized narc detectors on various suspected narcissists in my life. All this material has helped me know myself more, understand why I got entangled with narcissists, help me understand my addiction, why I have it, how to control it, and better yet, how to protect myself from narcissists in my life. The material and the consultations with HG have helped me keep the lower mid-range somatic out of my life through the use of a no-contact regime. I blocked him from social media and my phone. HG has made me feel empowered to where I reported him to a supervisor, made an official report against him, and got him banned from being able to come near me or my place of work. I found my voice again, and I fought back from the hole that he'd put me in. HG's work taught me how to knock down his attempts at hoovering me through his lieutenants. I didn't respond to them, I just walked away. I haven't seen the narcissist since late July of 2021, and his last failed attempted hoover was in August 2023. He failed because I didn't answer his lieutenant's questions. Thank you, HG, for empowering me and keeping me away from the narcissist, and I'm now helping others to achieve freedom by directing my friends to you and your work. Thank you very much for your help and knowledge, HG. Your work and you are both priceless to me. Another individual that has achieved freedom through my work. If you'd like to share your own experience, either send a video or an audio file, or, if need be, a written recollection for me to narrate to narcissist1909@gmail.com, giving details of your name and where you come from. It needn't be your actual name or actually where you come from if you prefer to use a different name. And headed Successful Escape, and you may well be chosen for selection in this series. Thank you for listening.